I wanted to share something that happened to me today just to give you a little bit idea of what is happening to all the foreigners that live in South Korea. So today, me and my coworker, we went for a shooting because we had some shootings that we had to do. So in order for us to do that, I went on to book a studio for us to rent and rental equipment. So I rented camera, a lens, and also a tripod. So when I was renting these equipments, I called with them, in which I call all completely in Korean. There was no English used, and we were going through the process and making sure that everything is correct. So they were making sure that is the camera, the lens, and the tripod that I was renting is right, and I said yes. Along the process, they asked as a company policy, I guess, if it was our first time renting in their place. So I was like, yes, it's our first time because they do have a company policy of if it's your first time, then these equipments will need to be deposited for 300,000 except for the tripod. So we have the camera and the lens, so that's why we had to deposit 600,000, which was like half million. And I was like, oh, okay. But then I just said yes. And then they asked who will be coming, and I explained to them that I am a foreigner, and it wasn't me who is going to be going to the rental place, but it's going to be my coworker, which is who is also a foreigner. So they told me, okay, then if a foreigner is going to come, then please bring the passport, so my coworker's passport, the business registration number, and a company card. And they mentioned that this person who is coming on behalf of me to tell them like, oh, I'm coming on behalf of Unica because like she's not coming today. So that was it, and nothing else was being done, and it was finished, right? So I went to my boss and I told her like, hey, for the rent of the equipment, since it's our first time since it is our first time, we have to deposit. And so she asked, where did you rent from? And turned out, after talking with her, we rented from the same place that she rented before. So she told me, "Oh, actually I rented from there before, and we already gave our business license to them, so you might want to ask if it's possible for us to just transfer the money instead of bringing the company card." So I called them again and I made sure like, hey, our company actually had already made some rents with you before. And so the person mentioned, okay, sure, then you know what, like you can just transfer to us. And yes, that was it. So that was yesterday. This morning, so I didn't go to the rental place with my coworker because I had to immediately go to the studio where the talents will immediately go because I have to take care of them as well. So we were going separate ways. On my way, suddenly I received a call from my coworker, and she was like, "Hey, I think there's some trouble." And I'm like, "What do you mean some trouble? This is in the morning, like it's 9:30 a.m. What do you mean trouble, right?" So she asked, I think I cannot speak in Korean because my coworker does not speak in Korean. So she asked if you can talk with the person, right? Because the person was saying, the worker of the rental place was saying that I need to talk with someone who can speak in Korean. So I'm like, okay, just I'll tell them to call my phone number and just call. So we called and I asked what was the problem. And so he was like, hey, so is there a Korean? Because we need to speak with a Korean person in order to confirm this. And I was like, I speak Korean. Like I'm not a Korean, but I speak in Korean. I talked, in the phone with you guys yesterday in Korean. So what's the problem? And he was like, no, 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 no. Not fluent in Korean. I just need a Korean person. So like a Korean person to confirm this rent. Because if there is no Korean person, you cannot rent. We cannot rent because there's no Korean person that they can contact. Which is weird because yesterday I told them that the person that was going is definitely a foreigner. That's why they asked for a passport. They even asked for my passport before because I was the one who was renting. And turns out I'm also a foreigner. So I was like, what do you mean? This was not in the conversation yesterday. And what he said was very shocking. He said, yes, this is not something that we say in advance. We just say this when you come. And I'm like, where is your logic in it? Where? You knew a foreigner was coming. Why did you wait for us to arrive to then say, oh, we actually need a Korean to confirm? Because if not, you will not be able. It's gonna be impossible to rent. That wasn't in the conversation. And I asked, why was this not told beforehand? And he was like, yeah, exactly. I mean, what do you mean exactly? what do you mean exactly? Because I don't get the logic of, okay, you have foreigners coming, so you're just gonna logically think, okay, I'm just gonna tell them, like, hey, we need a Korean person when they come. That does not make any sense. I was calling with you the entire day in full Korean, no English was spoken. And so, yeah, that happened. And then I was running here and there because in our company is full of foreigners. And another thing about that is he asked, you give me your business registration number. Is there no Korean in your company? Like, why is that your business, whoever in our company is? It does not make any sense. So I ended up having to run around, call my boss, everything. This was 10 a.m. in the morning, while 10 a.m. is supposedly our shooting time. And my coworker was supposed to, finish everything in 15 minutes, which is why I told her to go to the rental place at 9:30. She ended up staying there until 11 a.m. with all of this. And this is only half of the story first. Next thing is, I've managed to find a Korean person who is a worker from our partner. So I asked her, hey, can you please help me with the situation? So they ended up having a call. And what that person, like the Korean person from my company's partner's company, said is, hey, I finished the call and they say, yes, it's good to go. You get to just, use it and then return it by 2 p.m. So you just needed a confirmation and you had to do the Korean. I understand for security reasons because it seems like we looked like beggars. What I don't understand is, why didn't you tell me this yesterday and then you just got mad because I was pointing out that? That was crazy. And another crazy part is, because my coworker had to stay there until 11 a.m., we ended up having a delay in our shooting, right? Because I you remember when I told you about like the deposits, like 300 for each. So 300 for new person who kind of did the contract. That means we had to do 600,000 won, which is half million won, as a deposit, because the tripod was free, but we had to do a deposit for camera and lens because it was our first time. But again, my boss said we rented from this company before, so you can ask. So I told them, hey, I actually told you as well that our company rented from you before. You know what he said? He said, yes, your company rented before, but not this person who is here. And I'm like, so you tell me. I still need to finish the story because that's not it. We ended up having to pay a deposit of more than half million won because it was my coworker's first time, even though we come from the same company. That means they have our business registration, and I don't know how more legit they wanted it to be, unless they're just being racist. And I really don't like talking about this situation because I also live in South Korea for quite some time. Like, I've been here for 7 years. But turned out, like, this type of thing still happens today. And on top of that, because she only managed to get out from that rental place at 11 a.m., we ended up having to pay extra for our studio rental. Like, it does not make any sense. And the worst thing that came out from this entire thing is, and this is the thing with a lot of us foreigners living in South Korea. I speak Korean, my coworker doesn't, but just because she doesn't speak Korean doesn't mean she does not understand Korean. She does. She just doesn't know how to say it. So what she told me was, while she was there, she heard the workers in the rental shop talking amongst themselves like, hey, let's not give this girl an equipment that they needed or that they reserved, that we actually paid yesterday. So we transferred yesterday the exact amount, and then turned out they didn't want to give it to us. So I hope this helps. I don't know why, I don't even know how is this gonna turn out. I just wanted to share something because it's very heavy on me. And this racism thingy that is happening, like, I was just very shocked, and I hope this helps anyone who maybe ended up going through this video and see how it is like for us foreigners who actually lived in South Korea. But yes, it's already really late at night, so I guess that's it from me for now. Peace.